I'm here. I'm here, and the microphone is working, and everything's okay. Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday? Yes, it must be. And I am right now live on the internet. Can you believe it? I suppose, in your own way, if you're hearing this, you are also live on the internet? Probably, unless it's like the year 50,000 and this is in an archive in the Matrix or something. I have a lot of feelings. New video is out and has done well. Seems to be received well, which I'm happy about. There's a lot of work. We'll see how the numbers keep going over the next week or so. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty proud of it. How are you doing today, Snoodle? I hope you are well. I just went for a little walk. And I came back and I thought, hey. So my goal is... not too bad, glad to hear it. My goal is to work on the game at least 2 mornings per week. And I did not hit that goal last week because I wanted to make sure the video was out this week. And that was accomplished, so now I'm back to the game. We're in August. I'm kind of gonna be today, like, I'll probably be live again tomorrow with the game in the morning. But today, I'm gonna be doing some more spitballing, I think. Just thinking out loud. I have put about, how many hours is it according to Steam? I have put 70 hours into a little French-Canadian game called Mon Bazou, which is probably one of the more successful My Summer Car likes, and certainly one that I was curious about. That I thought, hey, you know, I'm making this game that is somewhat in a similar vein. I want to spend at least a couple. It was cheap. I needed something to play. I want to see how they did things, and there was a lot of things they did where I thought, okay, this works. Clearly, I put 70 hours into it. That's more hours than I put into. That's more hours than I put into Death Stranding, I think. I don't think I hit 70 on Death Stranding. So I did something right. Although that's not necessarily the same thing I want to do with my game. You're wrangling cats. Good luck. Good luck. I think you might as well give up. So Mon Bazou did some very interesting things that I think both work for and against that game. But you know, like playing it as research, it helps me put into focus in a little bit more detail what I do and do not want out of the Aruba game. For instance, well, I mean, the one thing is both it and My Summer Car, obviously, and a lot of these types of games are very car-focused, car-building focused. In Mon Bazou, you have a BMW that you're building from scratch. It's not quite as in-depth as My Summer Car, although very few games are, I think. Although it is more customizable. I don't care. I'm like a passive car guy, you know? Like, I think cars are cool. You know, I'll occasionally follow a YouTube channel that works on cars, old or new. I don't have a driver's license. I'm not like... A lot of these games are little... They're kind of like teenage boy fantasies. Technically speaking, mine is also, but not in the sense of like, oh, you have a garage and a car and all that stuff. I think the Aruba game is going to have a car very central, and I already know what car that is, and I already have some thoughts about that. But like building and customizing it is not going to be a part of it. That's not something I'm interested in. Drop the USB cable. That's one thing that I already knew but came into clearer focus. But there is something about these games having your vehicle as a central thing. Hey, Eblair fan! Thank you, Eblair fan. I have no alerts for bits because that's the first time I've gotten bits in 300 years. Appreciate it. The experience that I enjoy is the driving. The process of driving, the tedium of driving, of interacting with a vehicle, of having this thing that you rely on that brings you from point A to point B. Although I think in some ways, again, Montbazou is very different to My Summer Car. It's not as punishing. There is a hard mode, but it's not as punishing. It's not as harsh. You can sprint basically infinitely. You have an energy level. Thanks, Eblair. Appreciate it. You have an energy level, but it's really only about sleeping. You can drink coffee. It's just about making the day last. It's not about like your exertion. And the thing I want to get across is on Aruba, in the midday sun, and I'm sitting here right now on a particularly hot day in Europe. Getting used to those. The hottest day in Europe, right, can be very hot. Can be hotter than on Aruba. But the sun cannot. Right? Aruba is how far is Aruba from the equator? You know, it's at the bottom of the Caribbean Sea. Right? It's right above Venezuela. The sun on Aruba is basically a different star to the one in the Netherlands. You've cubed my latest vid, but have not been in great health. Right, I hope you're feeling better. The heat is not helping. It's supposed to rain a little today here. That might cool off the superheat, but I'm sitting here in the dark. Everything closed, curtains closed, fans blasting. But yeah, the sun on Aruba is basically a different. If it's a different star than it is in the Netherlands. Like what I have here on a super hot August day, or let's take best case scenario, a clear June 21st day. All right, the sun at its maximum height in the sky in the Netherlands is like 8 a.m. on Aruba. On a slightly cloudy day. On a cloudy day, the sun will still burn you. You're not gonna sprint 2 kilometers. You're not even gonna walk 2 kilometers unless you really, 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 really have to. And I want to get that across. In the game, that if you need to go some distance, you need to take a car. So you do need to take care of your car. You need to make sure your car is fueled up. The car will have maintenance. There will be a battery. There will be a tires can go flat. You know, will it fail more under the heat? The car will probably not. I don't know. Overheating feels like a step too far in terms of stuff you need to manage. But you, the character, will. Because you will have either hydration or heat. You will have fatigue, you know, those kinds of meters that you'll need to pay attention to. And I think the way I have it written down now is if you're just standing, if you're just awake during the day, your fatigue and heat will rise. If you stand in the shadow, it might rise a little slower. If you drink plenty of water, it might drop. You know, that kind of stuff. Sleep, of course, will help energy and stuff like that. Being in an air-conditioned room will stop it entirely. You know, that kind of stuff. Just stuff that makes intuitive sense is important to me. It needs to make intuitive sense. 1 second. So, do any existing games use such a model? I think... Did Red Dead 2 have, like, some hidden heat meters? Red Dead 2 had like, climate, right? You had cold areas, temperate areas, and hot areas. And if you wore cold clothing in hot areas, you could overheat. Although there wouldn't really be a meter. I think it would just affect your energy and your sprint capacity or your health regeneration or however that system works. But the point is, you're not going to have car building. You're going to have a functioning car right from the beginning. But you will have car maintenance and upgrades potentially and customization, I think, in the far future. And I even have it so the way I have the little kind of town built out now. There's a garage and a gas station. And that's where your car will go if it breaks, or that's where you can get, like... upgrades, particular upgrades done, but then there's a different garage that will do customization upgrades. But that leads me to another thing, a criticism of Mon Bazou is, at least on the normal, not hard mode, you have too many vehicles. You have a pickup truck that is your main vehicle, really. Then you have the BMW that you build. On the normal mode, you also get a what's it called? An ATV, which I didn't find particularly useful. And then you also can get parts for a dune buggy. And then you can get a second BMW. That's 5. Okay, hold on. Pickup, BMW, ATV, dune buggy, second BMW. At the racetrack, you get a race car. And then there's one more. There's another, like, there's a hatchback you can get to. That's like 7 cars. And the world isn't that big. And I feel like you do need, like, a purpose for cars. So I think there might be... I have in my head scenarios where you could have other vehicles. You could potentially borrow someone else's vehicle, but it has to have like a function. You know? Like, you can borrow someone's pickup truck or something like that. That's the other thing. And, let's look at my notes. A tow truck? Well, that would not be that would be something you would call. If your vehicle gets stuck, you call a tow truck. And maybe they drop you off somewhere. The other thing that I think also does not work in Mon Bazou's favor, but is okay in it, but I definitely don't want, is in Mon Bazou you have too many ways of making money. The main thing you can do at the start is chop wood and sell it to your brother. You can also sell logs. Then the main business is the maple syrup business. You can also grow potatoes and sell the fries. You can grow weed and sell the weed. And a lot of those activities can be upgraded to make like a fuck ton of money. And I kind of was done once I had the maple syrup operation fully upgraded, because by then I was making so much money that nothing really felt like a challenge anymore. I bought the underground weed bunker the weed growing bunker, but I was like, at that point I was done with the game. I didn't need to unlock anything else. And I think a game like this, it really works if you feel like you're living in it. And there's limitations. There have to be limitations. Same thing, like you can't just walk everywhere. You can't just sprint infinitely. Distances matter. That's one thing that's very frustrating about My Summer Car. But I think it's also what makes the game engaging, is if you decide, I need to go to town to buy some supplies, that's like a 10-minute drive. It's a 10-minute drive in either a vehicle that's the little scooter that's very not very balanced. You could fall off of it and you can't carry much. Or in a car that can flip over. Or if it's the car you build, a car that can get damaged. And while I think it's too punishing in that if you're fucked, you're fucked, and you just have to walk for like 20 minutes to get where you need to go. The thing that video games do when they remove friction is something that I think I can play with. It doesn't have to be hard like in real life, but I want you to plan and think somewhat like in real life because you're limited. You know how you in earlier first-person shooters, you could just hold whatever weapon you could, and so you could bring every weapon to every level, and then you'd have one favorite. Maybe the game would be well designed that certain enemies would require certain weapons, like Doom 2016 is kind of like that. But then you had games like Halo where it's like, no, you can hold maybe 3 weapons. You can hold a sidearm, a main weapon, maybe a heavy or something like that. And then you need to decide what is tactically appropriate for this situation. What will be the best weapon? Do I bring a sniper rifle here? Do I bring SMGs? You know, balancing ammo, that kind of stuff. And that becomes another dimension of the gameplay. And I think a life simulator can work well like that too. Where in real life, generally speaking, and extra for me because of how much anxiety I have, if you decide to go to another town, one town over to go shopping or something like that, you have to bring some supplies, you know, on a hot day. Bring a bottle of water, bring a bag with some tissues. I don't know, you have your phone on you, make sure it's charged. You know, there's these little considerations. You can't just in a game like Skyrim, you're just traveling everywhere. You're holding a mountain of supplies on your back. You're holding all the weapons you need. There is no journey. Right? If you're traveling from one town to another, there's no journey. And then you unlock fast travel, and then there's really no journey. And even though that game like lets you buy houses, it's just for showing off to nobody because it's single player. So I want your house to feel like your house. Hey, Martin. I want your house to feel like your house. I want your work to feel like your work. I want the trip between house and work to feel like something. The trip between house and a place of leisure to feel like something. The journey matters as much as the destination. Thanks for the love. I'm happy the results haven't been, oh my god, what have you done? Appreciate it. So Monbazoo has you making money in 15,000 different ways, which devalues the work you put into a lot of this. Here, you have one way of making money. And so if you need money to do something, if you want to buy something, an upgrade to your car, items to decorate your house, food, activities, bills, you got to go do your job. And I'm thinking like, okay, but what if you run out and you don't have enough time to do your job and you need something now because it's not a game and you can run out of supplies. You know, I'm thinking maybe you can borrow $20 from your grandma in an emergency. And then there's consequences to not paying that back. The monetization of the video is fine. Yes. I mean, it's early. YouTube can still turn that around, but on the initial scans, there was nothing. I did tone down some parts. I did go like 5% harder with some elements that I cut out. But you know, like YouTube is a crapshoot with that kind of stuff. You don't know. You don't know. People get demonetized for the most ridiculous stuff, and other people can get away with absolute insanity. So it's hard to tell. And there is one more thing from Monbazoo that I'm like, okay, I need to integrate this. Does it happen if someone complains? I suppose it could be reported, yeah. And because not just the topic of the video, but because I take a particular political position in the video, I know that I have the potential to be targeted by a certain group. Let's call them capital G gamers, who could try to brigade it or whatever. But you know what? At this point, like, I'm old enough to be like, let them try. I could probably just twist it into support. Because clearly, I've had maybe 2 commenters who've said questionable stuff in the comments. Everything else has been supportive, so... I will say, because it's not just demonetization, it's also the algorithm. It has... like, the first 12 hours or so, I think it might be my best video ever. And I hit, like, 3,000 very quick. I think it's the fastest video I've ever had to hit 1,000 views. But now it's leveled off. And it might go up again. Likely to. It might also stay leveled off. You never know with YouTube. It might hit 100k, it might stay at 3k. No way to tell. I'm just happy it wasn't just like a 20 view video, you know. But the last thing that I'm taking away from Monbazoo, because the last time I talked about the game a lot, I was talking a lot about the way you interact with items and how you pick them up, how you use them, how you put them in your inventory, what buttons, how that whole system kind of... I started kind of schematically trying to figure that out. I worked it out kind of here like this. I need to add one thing to this, and I don't quite know yet where. And I suppose that's something we're going to try to figure out. But in Monbazoo, in My Summer Car, in Skyrim, even in a lot of these first-person games, the items you grab have physics, right? And you can stack them. You can place them on top of each other. You could make like a little pyramid or whatever. And the way I have things in my head right now, you grab things and you have a physical hand that holds the item. But one thing I noticed while playing Monbazoo that I think is very important, and My Summer Car has this too, although My Summer Car forces it a little more because you're kind of stuck at the house at the beginning. They give you reasons to be in your house. And I like that. I like that because that is... you know, that's the thing that video games generally don't do. Like, if you play Stardew Valley, you have to go into your house in Stardew Valley to go sleep. You use the TV to check the weather and the horoscope or whatever it was. Maybe you have a kitchen. Maybe eventually you have a partner that lives with you, a spouse. But for the most part, you wake up, you check your TV, and you run out of the... Try to drop them tomorrow. I'm also streaming tonight, if you're around. I'm playing a game tonight. But if you're... In Stardew Valley, you kind of wake up, you get the fuck out of your house to go do stuff. But there's no reason to hang around your house, inside your house, to just chill. Stardew Valley is a very kind of remarkably fast-paced game for the vibes that it has. You're running around a lot. You know, you're trying to make use of the limited time and energy you have. But in My Summer Car and in Monbazoo, you generally have a reason to live in your house. You're interacting with items in your house. You know, you're sitting on the couch. You're sleeping on the bed. You're busy in the kitchen. You're using the bathroom. But also, because items, just handheld items, are physics-based, you can kind of decorate it. The player can decorate it in whatever way they want to. It can be messy. They can take time to clean up. Like, in Monbazoo, your drinking is just maple syrup, and your eating is just poutine. Just, you know, it's Quebec. So at some point, you just buy a bunch of those things, and you just drop them all over your house. And at some point, there's a part of you that maybe goes, hey, I should probably organize this a little bit. I should put these in the fridge, or I should stack them nicely somewhere where they're both accessible, but also not in the way or messy. Because you start kind of having this relationship with your house that that feels kind of like, you know, like I don't want the house to be messy. It's my house. In the case of this game, it'll be Grandma's house. So I think there's something there, but that part of that means the interaction that I want to develop will require being able to stack objects. Now, Monbazoo has you, and I think My Summer Car has been very long. I'm never playing that game again because of the AI, but I think you can rotate items while they're in the air, but they're like floating in front of you, right? Like, it's that classic kind of video game thing. In Skyrim 2, if you pick up an item, it's just floating in front of you. And even if you can't rotate it with the use of a button, you can kind of rotate it by kind of manipulating how your character controller is moving. And so you can still stack stuff. I think in Skyrim you can rotate stuff, because people put baskets on people's heads, right? So they can steal stuff. You can only do that if you can turn the basket around. So I think that is something that I need to add to. Yeah. So what I kind of want to figure out for August is what I'm doing for August, because I had plans for July. I don't, you know, I got close to them because it was continue on map design and redo the character controller. Now, the character controller has been in large parts redone. I don't know if I'm going to go into Godot today. It's very hot. The brain don't work so well when it's very hot. And I don't know if I want to actually look at code. I think we're probably gonna, if I'm gonna continue today, I'm probably just gonna work on the map a little bit. But the character controller, what I still want to add is the reticle right now is a bitmap. The FOV change is very clunky. Yes, map out the rest of the character controllers, things you need just to program basics. Sitting, I want to do item placing and rotating. I'm pretty sure I can find that somewhere as a tutorial, because it's a pretty common thing. But like, then we get back to like how I want to do interactions. Pick up item. It would be in here somewhere. Drop item. You plan to compress the size of Aruba for the game. You consider having more enclosed travel routes between open locations. at a more true to life scale. Yes. Yes, I can show you the map. Which one is it? Oh my god, which one is it? Map layout.svg. I'm pretty sure. Like this is a map. This is my map currently. Although it's a little clunky, but it's there. I don't need you to be open twice, and here, let's open. This is a real road map of Aruba from the year 2001, I think. 2000. Cartographers Limited. So from this, oops, this is a more cartoony map. This is a real life map. From this point here, A1, all the way to this other tip is about 30 kilometers. Which is quite large. Although, you know, to actually drive from one point to the other, maybe half an hour, depending on traffic. But for me, that isn't the problem. For me, the problem is that would require me to make a lot more stuff, right? But take this part. Let me see. I can draw on this, can't I? Can't I if I do edit? So here's a natural bridge, right? This is where you will work. Here is kind of the neighborhood that I want to make where you live. Where's the drawing markup? So this road is I believe about 2 kilometers, 2.5 kilometers, something like that. So my how do I zoom out? Can I not zoom out? I guess not. So my scaled down version, the length of the island is 10 kilometers, but this road will be the same length and the same scale. And so some of these important roads where the vibe is the drive, especially this road, more than any other road, is 1-to-1, because this whole area is very dense. That's not gonna be accessible for the most part. This here is. So some of these roads that I've kind of designated, that I'm kind of trying to work out how they'll be laid out, is like this. This road might be drivable. Here, this might be drivable. And, you know, I want you to be able to get here. Here's dirt roads that might be drivable. They'll be scaled down. But the vibe will very much be you are driving from place to place, and then a place will have a certain level of density and interaction, and the roads will be yeah, just roads. There will be very little reason to get off of them. But it's not like the thing about my summer car is very rural. So it's mostly just forests. I can't really do that for the places where I want to go, because here, all this gray area is built up areas, right? Urban, you could call it. Although it's not like the city ends and then there's just land. It's very we can go to Google Earth for this. You can see it for yourself. It kind of fades in, you know. You start having these streets with houses. The streets get more dense. The streets get more dense. The roads get bigger. The streets get more dense until you just have, you know, almost a grid layout. But there's a couple of questions that I need to answer for my layout. One is, you're gone. Do I have roads? These are roads. Biomes. Coastline. I don't need the coastline. One is, okay, so the minimum viable product is only going to have this area. Right? But if I'm able to get enough funding or able to put enough time into it, the entirety of the island will be accessible. So I need to lay out the basics of the island and the roads now, so that once I expand, I'm not kind of like shifting things over all of a sudden. Like if I build the game with this area or this area as the center point, it's still quite a large open world. This is bigger in size, just in geographic size, than it's about the same size as San Andreas from GTA San Andreas, although GTA San Andreas is, of course, a square. But in terms of land mass, it's about the same. So I need to have this scale already built out, and I need to have already a rough sketch of where certain landmarks are going to be. Because even though they won't be built, you'll be able to see certain landmarks from the minimum viable product location. And some questions I have are the layouts of some of these roads. Proximity to each other, because again, this is the hill in the middle, right? This hill, the Hooiberg. Very important for that to be in the game. And I want that to be a place where you can drive to and then walk up it. So for this experience needs to be 1-to-1 also. So as you can see, when you look at it like this, it's about 500 meters across, right? It's 160 meters tall. I need the in-game version to be about 500 meters across and 168 meters tall. But I need you to also, even though you're not going to be able to access it, I need you to be able to see the airport from it. The airport needs to exist. Airplanes need to fly over and land at the airport. You're never going to go to the airport. None of this kind of zone here, this urban area, will be built. But from here, you'll be able to see it, right? So the airport cannot be 1-to-1 scale because the airport runway is, how long is it? It's almost 3 kilometers long. And it can't be 3 kilometers long because that's this length. That's the width of the island at my scale is 3 kilometers. So it does have to be scaled down somewhat. Okay, so it's scaled down. But now we have this other problem where between that hill and the airport, there's a couple of other smaller hills. These little guys. Can I fit this? This road is an important road. This road is an important road. Just to be seen from above. Let me turn off labels. Just to be seen from above or from a distance. But right now, the way I have it, I can't really squeeze them in. I might need to move the airport a little bit more south. You know, like here or something like that. But that's okay. I just need the general scale to have an understanding. I can compress the airport somewhat too, right? I can just have the runway and move this taxiway a little bit more south and then whatever. But like this hill needs to be this size in order for it to be climbable, and it'll look a lot bigger than it does in real life, but that's part of it too, I think. If you want a 1-to-1 scale, you'd have the advantage of the satellite made data as a starting point. Yeah. Okay. Let's say I do that. Let's say I do 1-to-1 scale. All right? Okay. 1-to-1 scale. Here's the natural bridge, collapsed as it is now. So this is 1-to-1 scale. This will be 1-to-1 scale in the game. Okay, you're driving this dirt road. And then here there's a turnoff. And then here there's like a little settlement. And this will be the town. Okay. Now you need to drive to that hill. Look at all these roads. Look at how many roads there are until you finally get here. Look at how many buildings there are. I am not able to do this. Also, the elevation data that I have access to is very rough. Right? I have access to slightly better elevation data than this, but it's still like 10 meters by 10 meters. I would still need to sculpt all of it. I don't have the resources for that. I would need to make all these houses. And you could say, oh, you just need to make prefabs. There's 100,000 houses here. I'd still need to make 1,000 prefabs to not make it look weird. Even with the scale that I have now, I'm going to have to do a lot of work, and I don't know how much I'm actually going to be capable of doing. So that's why I have the minimum viable product game. Like, if this comes out, this is something I could sell as a game, potentially funding further development or whatever, but it's something that can exist on its own, even though I want to build more. So that's part of the reason. But also, gameplay-wise, I don't think 1-to-1 would be fun. It would be too confusing. What am I doing here? It's just like I just need a rough layout of the roads and where they'll be in relation to each other and where certain landmarks will be. One thing that is confusing to me. Okay. Here, let me see if I can find it on the map. It's here somewhere. It's not far from my mom's house. Here. This is the Kasibari rock formations. Let me see if there's pictures. Is there pictures? Photos. All right. It's like a little park with this is a view of it. With cool rock formations, right? You can climb these rocks. There's like a little cafe there. It's a cool place, right? I would love to build this 1-to-1. Okay? I'd love to place this, build this 1-to-1 as close as I can. And plop this somewhere along like a road here that's a little more accessible. Okay. Fine. Problem is, over here, did this? No. Where are you? Here. Hey, gamedev Jeff. Over here, you have another group of rock formations. Potentially even more important, because these have, I believe some of these have Indian cave drawings, too, in them. So they're historically significant. And this is very close, just geographically, to that settlement that I'm making, right? Okay. So the settlement is here. The rock formations would be like here somewhere. And if I simplify all these rows, then the other rock formations would be right here. So now I have two rock formations in very close proximity to each other. And I feel like it would be wrong not to have both of them. It would be wrong to try to combine them, because they each have their own kind of identity and their own name and their own significance. So where do I put one? Where do I put the other? I don't know yet. It's a little confusing to me. That's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to work out. And I think what I want to do then is, let me see, turn off reference image. Is just really nail this down. Nail down where the roads are going to be, how the landmarks are going to be distributed, what will be kind of like more open, playable areas, what will just be roads, how will I... some of these will be things that will only be like, you can consider them like skybox stuff. They're buildings that you'll only see from buildings or areas that you'll only see from a distance, like the airport, right? I don't have to build the airport in first-person detail. That's a distance object and will remain a distance object. But it still needs a scale. It still needs to fit into the world. It still needs to look right. It still needs to make sense. What I want is, when you look at a map, when you look at a cartoony map, hold on, let me get rid of this. Cancel. Here. I had it. Well, not this one. There's another one. There's another one in this folder. I'm sure of it. This one. This is a cartoony map, right? Of just like some of the landmarks and places and whatever with icons. An icon, not iconographic. That's not the right word. A non-representative map. The map. Thanks, Robot Bob, for saying the map is not the territory. It's exactly my point. I want you to be in the game and be able to drive there. Drive in the game. Take those roads. And whether you have been there or not, it feels real. It feels like the real place. A good example is GTA 4's Liberty City. GTA 4's Liberty City is scaled down, cartoony Manhattan. It is in no way actually representative of Manhattan. Some areas are a little more one-to-one than others. But when you go there, you get the feeling that this is this place, right? A Central Park, whatever it's called in Liberty City, has the vibes of New York Central Park while being like 1/10 the size. And sometimes low definition graphics actually help with this, right? The city of Los Santos in GTA San Andreas, everyone knows it's supposed to be LA. You're not going to use that to as a map for actual Los Angeles, because actual Los Angeles is this sprawl that is 10,000 times bigger than Los Santos is in San Andreas. But you get the vibes. I want the vibes, while at the same time still conforming to the real place. And that's not something I've seen a lot. It's you know, it's a difficult, tricky thing that I'm doing. I've been watching a lot of videos, Snoodle, about why San Andreas feels big. And while it feels bigger than San Andreas does in GTA 5. And some of it is graphical tricks. Some of it is the fact that it's lower definition. And some of it is the road layout. And I do want to keep that in mind while I do this. Where's the other map? Because I like this road map as a base for what I want to do, and it's from around the same time period because the game is set in 2005. And the road layout has changed somewhat significantly. Like here, Ayo is here. Casibar is here. Hooiberg is here. So there's a road here that connects to Ayo. There's like a loop, kind of loop here instead of this direct thing that I have. The thing is, this map, whatever I'm building here, this map will stay a purely a starting point. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's a part of me that wants to like have it all laid out perfectly right now from the start, but that doesn't make sense. I think what's going to help a lot is once I start mapping, like actually building the map in game and experiencing it from the first person view, that I'll be able to understand a little bit more where things should be in relation to each other. Some of these roads don't make sense. Trying to remember why I built them. Roads reference. This is just from Google Maps. Like, what do I keep and what do I shrink? Is one of those questions that I have. The hill keeps, right? The road to it, especially the 2005 version, you can get something closer to that, because then this stuff wasn't built. It does not need to be one-to-one. Its major thing is there's an old church here. I think that's it. This is it. This old church. This road doesn't have to be one-to-one. The other thing that I'm still trying to figure out is what is the scale of the roads on the map? How much space do they take up? I think, okay, let's just start adding things to the to-do list. Continue on map design. Layout roads. Layout NB area. Layout Mativitiri. And layout basic landmark. That doesn't need to be capitalized. Basic landmark placement. Is this typical thing when I do work like this? And if you do creative work, you may feel this too. It feels so overwhelming. It feels so big. It feels so like, how can I possibly do any of this? And it's just like one step at a time. Just do one thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And slowly, the picture will be built. It'll be okay. Much of the 3D GTAs felt like a purpose-made playground, that HD GTAs went more realism and lost something with that. Yeah. Delicate balance. That's why I'm more inspired by the map of Red Dead Redemption 2. Because you have the settlements are relatively small, and you have these long stretches of nature between them. Not that I'm going to have long stretches of nature, but you have these long stretches where it's like focus area of detail, road network that connects to other kind of locations. But of course, it has like the world of Red Dead 2 has a purpose that my game doesn't, which is there's a character who is undergoing a pre-written narrative. And part of that includes like going through these environments. This will be much more playground-like in that sense, but then without the violence, where it's like you have these mechanisms you need for survival. But other than that, here's a bunch of toys. Here's a bunch of stuff. If you want to do this, you can do this. If you want to do that, you can do that. Right? The idea is, let's say I wake up tomorrow and the entire game is built, starting from scratch, and I'm not developing it out or whatever. The idea is the main gameplay will still happen here. It'll still be like this loop of your house is here, your work is here, go back and forth, go back and forth, go back and forth, make money. Why make money? Because then you'll be able to do more stuff. It's a classic kind of like stuck in capitalism tale. Make money so you can buy more coke, so you could do more coke, to have more energy, to make more money. They're not going to be coke in the game, don't worry. But I'll have these activities throughout the island. There's the mini golf course that's very important to me because that actually doesn't exist anymore, so I'm going to preserve that in some way. And there's these activities that are very much like working in the game gives you the privilege, and I want to present it as a privilege, to explore the island at your leisure. Because in some ways, you know, I'm thinking about target audience. In some ways, it is people from Aruba. And by that I mean I'm making it for myself. I'm making it for myself as a way to explore the island without having to pay thousands for an airplane ticket that takes 11 hours. You know, it's a nostalgia fantasy for myself and potentially other people who live on the island. But like the population of Aruba is 100,000 people. It's not small, but it's not large. Obviously, I want there to be a mass market appeal to it also. So other people can also, like, I want it to be historical. I want it to be educational. It's going to be a bizarrely educational game. But not like, that's the other things I like about My Summer Car Mombazoo is they are attempts at recreating real places that these people who made them lived in. And I think My Summer Car succeeds spectacularly at replicating like the serenity and tedium of a summer in rural Finland. And it's educational in that sense, but it's also a little, you know, because of its sense of humor, it's also a little like not cynical necessarily, but there's something juvenile about these games, right? You can burp and fart and piss and puke and drink. I'm not interested in any of that. And I want to show Aruba off with a level of respect, but also realism. Not when the world sees Aruba right now, they see a finely crafted, like expertly crafted, beautifully crafted narrative by tourism marketing associations. They do a great job of making it look spectacular, but it's not real. Obviously, because a tourist doesn't see the island as it really is. Because they don't live there. That's the whole point. I want to capture some of that beauty because some of that beauty is there. I'm not saying like, oh, I want to also capture the seedy, ugly side of Aruba. I'm like, no. But then you're just getting into fantasies of Americans who think it's full of like human trafficking and all that shit. And there is a seedy underside, but I also don't know that. I didn't have any contact with that. The seedy underside is my dad sucked. Like that's a different thing entirely. But I do want it to be grounded. I want it to be real. I want it to be a almost documentary-esque depiction of the culture, at least how it was in the early 2000s, because that's what I know. Okay, so we have roads. Roads I want. What I also want is, hey, Blackwater Gator Studios. The last time you saw Winamp is today. Burn it into your memory. What I also want to do is like, yeah, I want to get this area in detail. And I do have an earlier drawing. Not this. Hey, Gabby! Thanks for the sub. Hope you're well. Where do I have that, don't I? I had that drawing. Not Google Earth for orientation. Not island sketch. Not Rose reference. Not NV reference. Airport reference. Wait, what's NV reference? What's AV reference? Adventure Golf. I thought I had it. Working and needing something to listen to beyond radio. Yeah, I'll still be here for another hour or so. But this is 1-to-1 to the real area. Close enough, as you can see. I don't know why this curves in here yet. But I had a drawing. There we go. This is the old sketch. So here's like the town layout, kind of. Town layout. I've since changed some of this. There was something else. If I go to island sketch now. Water tank here. Here the road goes like this. And it loops like this. So Ayo would have to be... Wait, where's the natural bridge? Natural bridge is here. Ayo is... It's also brown! It's also brown. This is 2009. Let's get something a little less cloudy. Here we go. This looks nice. Not you. Where are you? That's natural bridge. I'm like, oh, it's already collapsed. Yeah, 2009 was collapsed. It collapsed in 2005. There it is. It's right here. Okay, Io is right here. So it's in a like a triangle, right? I want to preserve that. If the road goes here, if the town here. Oh look, they don't have detailed version of the rest of the island. They only have this section. Or if I zoom in, is it better? No. So let's this road. This road goes like this. I think, and then here. Their witness protection. I was looking up. What was I looking up? Nauru? They changed their name recently. I'm always fascinated by like how small are other islands. And Nauru changed their name recently to Nauru or whatever. And at least on Google Earth, there were like these sections that are like, well, here they're blocked out by clouds. Sorry, on Google Maps. On Google Maps, they were like almost censored, these towns. But here they're okay. Oh well. Back to Aruba. Sorry, small island nationalism. You can't help but like compare yourself to other places. Is the population smaller or whatever? That the island of Australia used to use as an offshore prison camp thing? I think that is in the Indian Ocean somewhere, isn't it? That's like not Cocos, not Christmas Island. I think that's more in the Indian Ocean somewhere. Yeah, Australia. The irony of Australia using other islands as prisons. Anyway, back to the island. Turning off labels. So, okay, so, oh, this is after a rainy day. So we have this road cleared up. This road is clear. Okay, where do the buildings start? Now Manus Island in Papua New Guinea. Fun. How nice of them. Well, you know, any place with British ancestry, not likely to be very nice. Okay, so first the road goes straight, and then there's a ranch, and this is an okay. It's going to be embarrassing. This is an ostrich farm. Now you might have surmised ostriches not native to Aruba. A little bizarre. But the ostrich farm, was the ostrich farm there? Yeah. I remember it being a whole deal when it was built. Okay. Well, we don't need that, but we do need the ranch. We do need the ranch. But the road going like this doesn't make sense. Yeah, here's the problem with the scale. I had a drawing somewhere. Well, let's just go back to this drawing. How many houses do I have? I have the ranch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 houses. Gas station, some kind of eatery, supermarket. And then I have the triangle thing here, and I have the rock formation right here. There is something to that. This road needs to be a different color because it'll, you know, the urban area biome is the same. It's fill. Nope, that's wrong. Is it the stroke? This is wrong. But thing is, oh. What is the scale here? If I recall, 1 pixel is like 10 meters. So this road could be a little thinner. Stroke style with 1 pixel. Half a pixel. I could see it in my mind, but I'm like having trouble like laying it out properly. Not this one. Not this one either. You suck. Like, yeah, here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's what I'm trying to solve. Here's what I'm trying to solve. Okay? I'll just go to the most current map. The rock formation is here. Right? The rock formation is here. Because of how I've scaled things, this natural bridge area is much larger than like the 3-to-1 scale. So this rock formation is right here. The central hill is here, and the other rock formation is here. So the other rock formation is like directly north of that central hill. They're both on the same like whichever attitude it is, longitude or latitude, I don't care. But like on the same y-axis. And that needs to be reflected somehow. So the first rock formation needs to be here, and the other one needs to be here. And maybe do I need to scoot the central hill to the left a bit? This area is, yeah, this is the natural bridge. It's still a little fucked for some reason. That's fine. This is the natural bridge. This is the parking lot. Nope, that's the wrong button. Let me just add a new layer. If I remember how to do that. New layer. Sketch. Put it in MISC. Let's just do a little bit of quick drawing. So the one rock formation is here. Need a different color. The one rock formation is here. The other rock formation needs to be like, it needs to be like here. So would that mean if we just look at the roadmap, it needs to not be there. It needs to be like here. And if we look at a roadmap, what I like about these maps is they simplify the road network. Io is here. There's a road here. Where does this road go? Here you can see, okay, we this is the town where we live. Town. The little collection of houses. The rock formations are here, and then there's another smaller road that goes directly past the other rock formations. And then to the Hooiberg. I'm starting to wonder if this scale can even work. Because this is a big main road. This is the big main road. It's this road. If I show like the map version. Oh. How do we do this? This road, Route 4. That needs to be in the game. Ayo is here. If this road... Kasibari is here. I think I need to shift. Ooh. Let's get you back. What I'm thinking, and I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do this. This whole area needs to be shifted to the east, to the southeast just a little bit. Because here where you kind of exit that road and you enter the little town area is here, which is to the east of the central hill. But not by much. But here it's to the west. Maybe that's why I curve this road in a way that it isn't in real life. Because in real life, it goes down straight to the south. And I just think if I kind of skew it to the east, then skew it to the east. Skew that to the east, and you have a road here that just goes like this. This goes like this, connects to the big road. Then this is Kasibari. I have another roads reference. No, this isn't the roads reference. Sketch roads. Sorry, I can't think out loud right now. The thing is, I like I like the idea of it ending in a crossroads. Right here, it goes like this. And then it ends on a crossroad. And that crossroad had IO in it. That would be more like it ending like this. And then there being a road like this. And IO being there on the big road, which is completely wrong. Alt sketch. Alt sketch, it goes like this. No, I don't like this. IO needs to be there. Kasibari needs to be there. It's just like certain roads are I guess, and I mean this in the like most strictest sense of the term, iconic. Right? Certain roads have a vibe and certain roads don't. Because this the road that passes under Ayo goes to Andikuri. That's interesting. That's a road that goes here. Then we're starting to work it out. Kasibari is here. Casberry is. Casberry is. Casberry is here. And Ayo is here. Getting somewhere. Yeah. Okay. I can see this. I can see this working out. Because the distance between these two landmarks would still be like a kilometer on curvy roads. I mean, we're erasing all of this here. I think we can push this up a little more north. This road goes like goes to 45 and then heads to horizontal. Oh, somebody really set me up for a big challenge, huh? Wonder who. That one. Don't know why this line is so wobbly, but we can take care of that. It's so funny how things can seem impossible, and then just by doing them, it turns out that they're possible. Um, that's a large font. Yeah. That's a weird font. Babas Nua. Comic Sans. Just wondering if I'm leaving myself enough room here. Water tank and antenna in Urataka. Where's Urataka? Urataka is there. We got something. Let's sketch out some buildings. The way I'm envisioning this is that you have the ranch, you have a handful of houses, and in the middle of them, the player house. And then here at the crossroads, you have a supermarket, a place to eat, like a cafe or something, and a gas station. Oh no. Did I move the road?
We actually kind of got close to the real life shape. So I am somewhat impressed with myself there. And I'm still thinking about how the fuck I'm going to do this in real life. Or not in real life. How I'm going to turn this into a game object. But we got some of my questions somewhat figured out. I just need now I need more landmarks. Part of me wants to do this in a bitmap because the sketching in vectors was not as easy as I wanted it to be. So maybe for next time I'm gonna export it as a bitmap. Continue use sketch in bitmap because vectors suck to draw. Yes, indeed. I'm still a little iffy on scale because, like, a person would be the size of my cursor here. How squiggly these roads are, it's ridiculous. But we got this road laid out good. Not this. Oh, I really picked the wrong color for all of these. They should all be yellow. Continue to sketch. So island sketch.
That's correct. That's close enough. I love how I said I should continue to sketch in bitmap, and here I am doing it in vector with all these squiggly ass lines. Yeah, this is all messed up. I think we're just gonna leave it there. What I'm gonna do next is layout roads, layout basic landmark placements. Name them. What I need to do is what I need to do. I need to have the roads laid out kind of basically, kind of just for my head, so that I can understand what landmarks will eventually be drivable to where or whatever. But also, I need to put this in a bitmap form so I can sketch it out a little more nicely, because this ain't looking good. And then I just have to, at some point, I'll just have to drop it into Godot and start, like, actually sculpting the map. First, a rough outline of the island with a very rough topography, elevation, and then particularly zoom in on this whole area and get that as good as possible. Just getting the shape of the terrain right, and where I can lay out the roads and where buildings can go. Because in the minimum viable product, there will only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 buildings. Right, so that's not too crazy. I'm not entirely sure about the scale here yet. I don't know if it makes complete sense, but I think that's partly because I don't know what size the roads are, and the size of buildings and stuff on this map aren't all that correct either. I've tried, but, you know. That is something I think I'm gonna just have to work out intuitively. So next on the list is just getting this road network a little cleaned up, and also making sure just the landmarks are placed. And the landmarks is also shit like, it's not just, oh, nice, beautiful stuff. There's like, here, there's a golf course. You know, here, there's all the high-rise hotels. There's water towers spread throughout the island. They look like this. Where's the closest one? Savanetta. They look like this. There's these big metal water towers. I don't know if they have pictures of them here on Google. Photos. Don't look like it. Don't know what this is. Some kind of ranch. Maybe. Give a picture of it here. No, they have just the old water treatment plant. You have these water towers. I want to get some of those correct. You might be able to drive up to them. So those are landmarks that will have to be in on the map Because a lot of what you'll see if you're standing somewhere tall is just like this flat kind of texture of buildings, maybe with some very basic geometry, like a skybox, low detail style thing. And that still needs to have the right placement. But I think we've made some forward progression, especially with the layout of Ayo and Kasipari, that I do feel good about. But what I'll have to do in Godot is sculpt out the shape of the island very, very roughly. And then just lay out certain parts of the elevation very roughly. And then get like a medium level of detail for the entirety of the island, and then get to work on like the 1-to-1 scale, still rough, but like at least scale wise it should be good, of the main area. Yeah, and then we can think about roads, then we can think about buildings. Then I'm also going to continue working on the character controller, since that's the main thing in the whole game, is the character controller. That needs to be really dialed in, and there's some abilities that I need to give. Not the least of which is sitting, and ways to make the game take control of the character controller, and especially the sitting will lead into vehicle control. I don't quite know how to do that yet. Vehicle control will be very important. Then once we have vehicle control, and I actually just have a basic rudimentary vehicle that the character controller can sit in, then I can really check if the scale that I got is good, if it makes sense. Yeah. I think that's it. I think I'm wrapping up there today. I'm gonna go have some lunch. If you haven't seen it yet, new video's out, and it's good. People have said it's good. Some people have said it's my best, which makes me blush. If you have already seen it, just watch it again. You might learn something. I'm gonna go have some lunch. I will be back tonight. Same Bob channel, but not the same Bob time, because it'll be a different time, obviously. That's how time works. I'll be back tonight with a movie based on a 1990s Charlie Sheen... a video game based on a mid-90s Charlie Sheen film. Won't that be fun? I hope to see you then. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and being here while I brainstorm. I'll be back tomorrow for this. We might actually go and write some code, because I need to keep all of this fresh, because every time I get interrupted, I feel like I'm starting from scratch again, and it's gonna take long enough to make this whole thing at all. Today's the day. See you later. Bye.